evening and welcome to Spark of Light Spiritual Chat Show. My name is Alice Trevor. I'm a spiritual medium and psychic. I would like tonight to introduce our lovely guest, David Schiesser, who is from London, but originally was from Switzerland. And David is a spiritual medium. He's DSNU certificated, and he's also a tutor at the Arthur Findlay College in Stansted, just outside of Essex. So we're absolutely delighted tonight to welcome David onto the show and find out all about his journey, where it all began to where he is now and what's actually coming up for David. So I'm going to bring on now, of course, we're going to bring on Judith, who's my little co-host on the side here. Aren't you, Judith? Yeah?
As always.
How are you? How are you, darling?
I'm good. We finally got sunshine. We finally got sun. So we have, and yeah, how are you?
I'm all right. It's been good, actually. It's been a beautiful day. It's been really sunny. And I think it makes a difference, to everyone, it just lifts everyone's spirits up a little bit, doesn't it? It just makes them feel a lot more happier,
Did you get your hair done?
I did it myself, actually. I did it myself. Yeah. See what happens when you actually pay attention to yourself a little bit and you think, right, okay, I'm going to make an effort. I'm going to really make an effort. So I'm really glad that you noticed that I've done something like
that.
Yeah.
It's lovely and bright. The sun, it's a nice sun.
Yeah. The sun has got its hat on.
Yeah. I need the sunshine.
Well, listen, I'm really excited to have our lovely guest tonight, David, and I'm really interested in finding out all about his story. So without any further ado, let's welcome David onto the show. David, hello.
Hi, Alice. Hi, Judith.
Hi,
everyone. It's lovely
Welcome
to
the
be
madhouse. Welcome.
It's really nice.
So how are you? How are you, David? How are you?
I'm very good. I'm really looking forward to the chat with the two of you, to be honest.
Great.
And I'm very excited.
And
I hope I can bring some light into the mysterious personality of myself. But, yeah,
that sounds intriguing. Yeah. Now I know originally you were born in Switzerland. You lived in Switzerland for quite some time. And so what brought you over then to is it London? Is it outside
Cambridge.
Cambridge. That's a beautiful place. Cambridge is lovely. Yeah.
It's not too far. It's not too far.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Alice. So you're asking me what brought you into that
because Switzerland is beautiful. Switzerland is a beautiful place. So tell us what happened there if you can.
Well, normally, Alice and Judith, either it's profession or love that makes you move from one country to the other. And for me, it was love, to be honest.
I was going to say love. I was getting love. You could see the glow as you were talking there.
You see the glow in the cheeks there. Yeah.
Absolutely. So
he's got love on his side.
It wasn't the first sight. On the first sight, it just developed, I have to say, with my partner, which is really nice. And it's an interesting, for me, it's an interesting story. I often think, well, why should my story be interesting for people? But yes, I met my partner, but then I knew my partner for quite some time before we even got together and before we even thought, well, who is moving where? So in the end, with long distance relationship, you have to eventually make a decision. And for me, it was easier to make the decision to move to the UK because I already spoke English quite well. Well enough, and for my partner to move to Switzerland with a completely different language, because it's Swiss German I'm from the Swiss German part, and Swiss German is not the same like German. So it's a language in itself. So and we discussed that before. Switzerland is beautiful. It is, yes, you said that. Switzerland is also terribly, terribly expensive.
Yeah.
So for me to remain in Switzerland would have meant staying in a well-paid job. So I would never have become the medium that I am today. I would not have had the courage to do this, to be honest. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I know you're also a tutor in the Arthur Findlay College in Stansted as well. So you have came a great way, haven't you, on your journey? You really have. It's amazing.
Yeah, it was a long way. But you see, I had to make I really had to make a decision here because when we spoke about the move, so I had a very well-paid job. I actually loved my job. I was project manager with a big telephone company and very settled there, to be honest. And then I thought, well, what do I do when I come to the UK? So I have to start afresh from the bottom, sitting in an office.
Spirited other ideas for you. Yeah.
Well, yes, but it was not just the spirit, it was also conscious decision, because what people don't know about me is that I was never the medium actually in Switzerland. I never did or used my mediumship back in Switzerland.
I was going to ask you that.
Yeah.
You didn't use it. Is it that, was that through choice of just the circumstances and your job, or was that because you weren't ready to show that side of you?
Well, I think it is as well as, to be honest, but well, I'll just give you a little bit of a framework. If I get too much into detail, you just tell me, okay? Tell me off, Judith. Okay. So what is really interesting here, what I think for the listener it could be interesting when I speak about that, is I found the Arthur Findlay College in 2002. And before 2002, I was more interested in personal development. So I was in an education, 3-year education, to become a diploma holder in kinesiology. Kinesiology is where you use muscle tests and the mind, body, mind, soul. So back then, I was not really interested in mediumship, or I didn't really have an idea what that was, till a friend of mine, she then dragged me, as it is, it's always the friend, isn't it? Like he sent your way and drags you somewhere. And
good old friend.
Absolutely. And I remember I did sat a little bit in circle, but not much. Okay. And then my friend said, why don't you come with me to the Arthur Findlay College in Stansted? And I said, I haven't got a clue what this is, but well, why not? So it was really funny because we ended up, or she booked that course, and me as well, which was a trance speaking course. And I didn't have a clue what trance was. I didn't have a clue what mediumship per se. I know you speak to the dead people. That's what I knew. But I didn't know.
Good way to put it.
I didn't know what trance was. And back then, it was really a jump, because I only knew school English. That meant I could say yes, I could say no, I could say I don't know. And that was about it. My passive understanding was greater than my active. So can you imagine you are ending up on a trance speaking course? What do you have to speak? And in what language you supposed to speak? Because in 2002, there were mainly English people at the college who were in that course.
And it changed then, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I sat there and was like, well, I need to close my eyes and say something. Impossible. But what was so beautiful within this experience was something touched the very core of my being, because I love the Art of Finley College. I love the place. It was like a sanctuary. So because I found my love, even though being told by students many times you will never be the medium, I just went back once a year for 1 week. I went back onto a course at the college for 10 years.
Yeah.
And then going back home, I never actually did anything with it because I didn't want to be a medium. I had a job, I had my kinesiology. I never really looked into becoming the medium anyway, but it was just so beautiful to sit in a trance energy.
Do you think
Nowhere near, not saying that I was ever a trance medium, by the way, okay?
But do you think though, David, that was because you were told you would never be a medium? That you thought that?
At that time, I didn't really bother. What bothered me was, and maybe it helps for others when I say that, the very first week that I was on, it was Eileen Mitchinson. I don't know if that name is still known in the world, but she was honestly, she was a fantastic trance medium. Honestly, this lady blew my mind. I can just say that. She just blew my mind. And it was my very first week. And I remember that well. Maureen Mernon, who is fabulous. She's just fabulous. She was my very first tutor. Okay. Very first tutor.
Maureen Mernon. I was on a course with her as well at the very beginning.
Fabulous. And then a student came up to me. It was on the second day out of 7. Yes. Second day out of 7. And she looked at me and said, "You will never be the medium." And then I think, you know what? I don't know actually what I'm doing here. I haven't got a clue. Now, this person tells me I will never be the medium. I have 5 more days to go. Do I now waste my time here or do I go to London? So I went to Eileen Mitchinson and in my broken English, I said, "Well, is this true? Am I not good for that?" Because you see, ladies, I want to know. I always wanted to know. I love honesty. I don't need to be beaten around the bush. Okay?
Yeah.
That's something the Brits love, beating around the bush.
Yeah.
The Irish don't.
Oh, good.
Point.
Tell me. And then she said something really nice and said, "Never listen to anybody." And Maureen, what I remember, she said, "Listen, I was told I will never be this. I was told I will never be that. See and look where I am now.
Yeah,
I do it all. If I had listened to others, and so therefore, because I wasn't really that much disappointed because I never aspired to be medium.
Yeah.
So for me,
I just say, 3 times now I've seen orbs going past you. Have you noticed them, Alice? I've written down once, and then it happened 3 times so far. It just keeps floating.
I've been too busy listening. I'm engrossed in this conversation.
No,
because
I
must admit, David. Yeah, I must admit, David, that really does annoy me that people feel to have that right to say to somebody, "You're never going to be a medium."
I was told that.
At the end of the day, you're working and you're serving for Spirit World, and they're your teachers and they're your adjudicators and they're the ones that will progress you on, and nobody has that right to say whether they think they have this great connection to Spirit World. Then I'm sorry, I would doubt that, because nobody has that right, and it's certainly not coming from Spirit World that you're never going to be a medium. So well done you.
Spirit said to me, I was chatting to a lady and she was talking about her journey, and we were just talking about how far she had come. And she said she was thanking me, and I said to her, Spirit said, I'm a guide on the earthly plane, like they're a guide in spirit. spirit.
Yeah.
And nobody owns spiritualism. It's very, it's very open. And I thought that was a perfect way to describe it, because we're exactly the same as our loved ones and guides in spirit, only we're helping on the earthly plane with the guiding.
Yeah.
Well, I agree with you entirely, but I also, you see, would I have been what I am now if people didn't challenge me? So sometimes, you see, sometimes I say, I can withdraw and believe other people what they think I am,
Yeah.
or I can just move on and take it on. You see, the point is, I'm a bit special within that one, because the point is, if I was really not good as a medium, I would like to be told by someone who does that with a heart, with a smile, with kindness, because I don't want to be someone who is an imposter, you know. So in a way, sometimes it's nice to have an outside feedback that is constructive, critically.
It is, but what would you consider? Would you consider your spirit team then? If your spirit team say to you, "You've got this. You can do this. Keep going as you are and learning and trust us."
Well, you see, Judith, this is really interesting, because I say now, when I found spiritualism or the Art of Inley College, I found the Art of Inley College. I didn't have a clue about spiritualism. Because in Switzerland, it's not an acknowledged religion. It is not a religion at all.
Right.
So this is very special to the UK or to the. It is really special to America, but in Europe, we didn't. Back then, in 2002, spiritualism was, what is this? I didn't have a clue that there is a philosophy.
Yeah.
So we just had the mediums coming, because my mom was very into mediums. And I remember when I was 18, she wanted to drag me to one. And I said, "Oh, get away with this." No, it's like,
and now you are one.
well, it's insane, isn't it? But I have to say from myself, I never, or I would not recall it. I didn't find spiritualism or the mediumship because of me being a medium, or me having an awareness of the spirit world, or me having lost someone that created that wish within me. I need to see a medium because I need to have that contact. I was very sheltered in that way. So for me, to be honest, I would not have known, is it my imagination that speaks to me? Is it my own brain that speaks to me? Is it really the spirit world that speaks to me? And therefore, I cannot even say, like you, Judith, I did hear the spirit world telling me, no, David, be on the way, you're doing well. I couldn't, because I did not have an awareness of that. Does that make sense?
It does, yes.
Because
If I could just, sorry, David, we've got quite a few people that's came on now. Okay, so if anybody would like to pop a question on, please put it in the comment box, and we can refer that back to David. Okay, so carry on, David. I've just thought I would let people know. Okay.
You see, so for me, hi everyone. So for me, it was not the purpose to come to the Art of Inley College or to learn about mediumship and the communication about mediumship. I just sat in something that they called the power that I didn't even know what that was. So my pathway is a bit different. So through that love, because as I said, the Art of Inley College was for me a sanctuary, because personally, as a person myself, I was not in a good state. I was not at peace with myself.
Yeah.
And to have had the Art of Inley College, that gave me that shelter, that safe haven, in that beautiful atmosphere with sitting in the power, which I didn't know what that was back then, to be honest. brought me back every year just for 1 week for 10 years.
Yeah. I
I've
went,
never been.
I went there every year. I went twice a year for the first 4 years, and then I went every year for the following 4 years. And I mean, you were pushed, as far as that, you could go, really. And I'm very grateful for it, and you're absolutely right in one aspect, what you said about the challenge. If I wasn't challenged, maybe I wouldn't be who I am today. And that's so true, because I find with me, sometimes when I'm challenged on something, then and I felt it was right for me. So, then I stick with it, and I kind of makes me get pushed forward to do it.
If I'm challenged, although I felt that I was in a sense, but I worked with my spirit team to show that they were wrong.
Right.
Yes, I would take constructive criticism, absolutely, because at the end of the day, we have the lessons to learn, and we all have to learn them. But I always thought, okay, spirit are telling me, so let's show that we can work like this. Let's show that we can do what people say we can't do. Let's show them. And personally, for me, I think spirit very much did do that, because they showed specifically with the recipient, not with me. It's with the recipient. So there is no mistaking. So yes, I think we should, because ego can get in the way if we think, we can't, and or we don't need challenged, or we don't need to learn, because we all have to learn.
Yeah, that's why we're here. This is a school of learning. I always believe this earthly plane is our school of learning, and learn we do, and hard learns we do, and also good times we that comes out of it.
We volunteer for all, don't we?
Yeah.
Well, I just feel sometimes, you see, we listen too much to others, but also sometimes we should listen to others and take what they say and reflect. It doesn't mean that they are always right. It doesn't mean that I am always right, but because you see, what I have learned when I came then to the UK, and I decided not to end up in an office. Because I had savings, I had a partner who supported me, I had the luxury to just focus upon one thing. I said, listen, if I'm really here because of the spirit world, then I want to become the best that I can and understand what I am doing as a medium. And this is why I then enrolled in that education scheme of the Spiritualist National Union. Started with the PASS scheme, platform accreditation scheme. It's hard work. There is like a theory course. You have to write like thousands of words and then you go through those stages. But for me, it was so important, because I am this kind of person. When I do something, I need to know what I am doing. And I need to know that my quality that I present is good enough.
Yeah.
You see, this is me.
Spirit, do you not find spirit push us to be like that? They push us to show the best in us. They push us to show what we can do and what we can do with what they can do with us.
Well, yes, because, and now we come into the philosophy, because now I'm more about the philosophy than the mediumship. I love the mediumship, don't misunderstand me. But the philosophy is incredible, because when we say there is an eternity and development is eternal. Well, yes, of course, we can always be better. Absolutely. I don't even think we have scratched the surface what we could actually achieve with that power that we call the spirit world.
Spirit have said to me, you restrict yourself very much, and you only use a quarter of what you're capable of doing, of what we all are capable of doing. we're capable of so much more, they say.
I mean, sometimes I believe for something good, we have to put in the work. And
Absolutely.
I'm blowing my own trumpet here, but listen, I had to learn a whole new language.
Oh,
I did
yeah.
have to. The biggest horror for me was in the beginning, and that was not, well, it was, I'm not going into that one. When I did my first service on my own, I had to do a prayer. Well, ladies, I learned how to pray in the UK. I've never prayed when I was back home. I wasn't raised religiously. And then you have to pray, and you have to pray on behalf of other people. Honestly, that took my breath, because what can I say that is intelligent enough to represent their prayers? This was horrible. Then you have to do an address. And you know, the address is a spirit-inspired address. It should be about, because it was SNU Church back then, it should be about the 7 principles. It should be intelligent enough that people can take something back home to think about. And then you do the mediumship, which kind of, in brackets, kind of, out of all of these elements that you provide, was kind of the easiest one. Not always easy, but the easiest one, where you had to say, okay, is someone here, please talk through me, please. But with the address and with the prayer, and then you have to close that thing in intelligently. That was hugely stressful for me, hugely.
I used to stress over prayer. My mum, I was brought up with my mum through the church. I always say, because my mum, that was her social life. You know, she raised us herself. So where she went, we went. And so we spent a lot of time in church. And whenever I started doing services and different things, the one thing that I found the most pressure was the prayer. And Spirit sat me down and had a good talk with me and said to me, speak from your heart.
Yeah.
Speak from your heart.
Yeah.
And that's how I started to feel more comfortable. So it was
I would like to just pop a question on just now I've got from Eddie. I feel I'm not being pushed enough right now, and I feel a bit stuck with a couple of circles. What advice could you maybe give Eddie?
What advice can I give you? Advice is never good. Those are ideas. Okay, let's call them ideas. In all fairness, you as a medium, you're starting actually to move forward when things become a bit more difficult. So what I would love to have in my own circle, if I was a circle member, is someone who pushed me into those areas where I feel sometimes a bit frustrated, challenged, and where it's a bumpy ride. Because in the end, where you are challenged and when it becomes a bumpy ride, you're starting to push your boundaries. I know it's uncomfortable. I know it's not the nicest of the feeling, but when you are able to work through it, you're not just your mind starts to expand, but also your energy starts to expand. And I feel it's very important, not knowing where you are and what kind of people surround you, is like to have people as a circle leader who are able to hold a moment of frustration, for example, and to say, okay, let's move and work through it. Let's find new ways. Sometimes this is not possible, and therefore we ourselves have to be that circle leader that takes control and says, come on, David, now work through it. Don't give in to your own frustration, because the trouble is,
Sorry, I was just going to say there, David, sometimes though, when you feel a bit stuck and you're maybe in a circle, maybe that circle's not for you as well, you know, and you need to move on, perhaps to to another one. That's happened to me before. You know, I've been in a circle and it was fine at first, and then it got very I felt stuck, and normally when I feel stuck on something, it's Spirit's way of shifting me, you know, and that's what shifted me down to Arthur Findlay College for me to. I wanted to learn more, and the circle I was in, they got me to the level that I learned, but they weren't able to take me that stride further. So is that a possibility?
Of course, it's a possibility. It's also depending on how much money you have available for your development to get to other people or other places. I mean, Arthur Findlay College is one place. I mean, Arthur Conan Doyle in Edinburgh is another place. Yeah. I mean, there are certainly other places to do that, but also what I entirely speak about my own experience as a student. Okay,
yeah,
as a student, because of course you are growing, and then of course there is a moment where you are starting to go into a little bit of a tension with the one who leads it, or the one who teaches you, because you're starting to be confident, and you're starting to get what is needed of you, or what they ask of you, and then all of a sudden you get used to it, and then all of a sudden you say, and what's next? And as you said, Alice, not everybody's able to get that next level, that next step. But what I also want to say is it's not always dependent on other people if you can take the next step or not.
Yeah.
You yourself, and this is what Judith said, you have your spirit people. You can sit in an exercise that you think, oh, that's a beginner exercise, but you could make it yourself so difficult for yourself that a beginner exercise all of a sudden is intermediate advanced exercise. You see, I think what we forget is that we have a creative potential within ourselves, and we can push ourselves, and we don't always need others to push us.
Yeah, I do. I get what you're saying, but for me, it was very much, you know, I felt, and it was maybe my own insecurities on it as well. I felt, you know, moving over this, moving over that, but I want to know, but why is that happening, and what is, and I wasn't getting the answers that I needed, do you know? And I would ask Spirit World, and then Spirit World were giving me advice to go down to London, do you know? And I was getting signs all over the place, and then somebody introduced me about the Arthur Findlay College, and I thought, I've been seeing those signs about that place. How bizarre! They were actually inviting me to come with her, and we'll go on the plane, and there was a whole load of people were all going on the plane the very first time. And I thought that's not coincidental, you know, because I was learning at the time. I thought that's not coincidental, you know. I've obviously got to learn something else that I need to know. And for me, it helped me a great deal. But as you said as well, you can go there for years. You also sit in circles. You also do mentorship with people as well, you know. But then after a while, you know, Spirit do say to you, and they said to me, no more money be spent. We're your teachers.
Well, in the end,
we want to move you forward. You need to listen to us, you know.
In the end, you need to do, you see.
Yeah.
But I agree here entirely. You need also to be ready to be doing. You know? So it's a fine balance. I think you can. There is many possibility, as you said. Sometimes it's time to find new circles. Sometimes it's about sitting tight, and sometimes it's about making the most for yourself. And I think there is not just one opinion that could say do this or do that. But yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Here, Judith, I'll let you read the next one. Mary Conley. Right. Yeah.
So Mary Conley, David would like to know, how did you move from being a frustrated medium to actually developing to becoming a confident medium when it comes to your service?
Well, I don't really know if I was a frustrated medium. What I was a frustrated student. That's what I was more. And you know, Mary, it's a good question, a really, really good question. The moment where I accepted the no as a friend, I started to enjoy my mediumship. No, that word no, which most of the people go into panic and say, oh, I got a no, I need to explain why I had a no, and so on. And I had that for years where I was so afraid to be wrong that I wasn't free within my exploration, within my mind, to be honest. And it started when, if I want to say about frustration, yes, it started to frustrate me because the frustration I had more was I had a sensation, I was aware from my clairsentience, the clair feeling, that I felt something very specific, but I couldn't find the right word because I'm not English.
Yeah.
So for me, I always had this struggle with my mind, rational, because I had to translate. In the first 10 years, I had to translate everything. And in mediumship, they tell you keep your mind free. Yes, stay in the flow. Don't think. Can you see where the problem with trance was? Like it's
Yeah.
like, why would you sign up for a trance one? So there was a frustration that I could actually not say what I meant because everything, every word that I had, I knew is not quite right. But also then not to be fearful from the no's anymore started to relax me because a no is an opportunity to actually go into the depth of communication. If we want to talk about evidential mediumship. And as soon as I felt safe with the no, because I remember that quite well. It was on one of Sandy Baker's week, evidential mediumship weeks, where I said I was so frustrated, I wanted to pack up. Every medium knows that, I believe, when
Yeah.
you
Oh, yeah.
I idiot. You could be on a nice island somewhere, and you are here frustrated. And then I said, you know what? I don't care about the no's. So for 2 days, I just want to have no's. And you know what happened? All of a sudden, the yeses came because I was more relaxed. And the confidence within your mediumship, I found my confidence because I started to understand through, as we said, I've started mediumship for 9 years. That was tough. Okay.
Yeah.
That was really full-time studying mediumship for me.
Yeah.
And because I started to understand mediumship, not just the mechanics, but also how the energy works with you. Also, I did understand that not only your rational analytical mind needs to understand, but your energy needs to mature to be able to create that phenomenon that you want to create. It's not just the mind, it's not just telepathy, it's also your energy that needs to be ready for it to be able to be transported. And that made me confident because I knew what I was talking about. I knew when I was on a psychic level, and I knew when I am on a mediumistic level, and I know when I have a flyer of a demonstration, for example, that was a flyer, and I know when my demonstration was good enough, but not as good as.
I think we're our worst critic as well, aren't we? Because I'm getting a little bit better at it, slightly, but I would say I do give myself a hard time. I do give myself a hard time. You know, when I come off, I'll think, well, if it was good enough, then I'll think, well, okay, that wasn't too bad, but I could have always done better. You know, and I always say to them, you know, I always say that to Spirit, and I'll say, well, I'm sorry if I let you down on that, but I really did my best. And they'll say, will you stop doing that? You know, will you stop doing that to yourself? You know, because even if you just give that one person the message and the evidence, not the message, but the evidence, I always say, bring your evidence in before you do your message. But, you know, I suppose you're doing your job for spirit world, but I think you do. Well, I know for me, I do give myself a hard time. Don't know about you do. Just
I think we all do. I think we can all be we can all be quite critical of ourselves in the sense that we always want to do our best. We're always looking to strive to do better, and we're always looking, even although we work well with spirit and we work in the way they want us to, we always want to strive to do better and learn more.
You just don't want to let them down, because you are the voice for the spirit world.
Yes. Dave, I wanted to ask you, you talk about the kinesiology. Yes. When you look back now, do you see signs of your spiritual side coming through then that you didn't recognize back then, but you do now?
Well, that's a fantastic, well, all questions are fantastic, but what I mean with fantastic question is that I never thought of that before. That's what I'm actually indicating here. You see, when I came into the mediumship, I was not interested in the philosophy. I was interested in the communication, evidential mediumship. That was the part that interested me. So every time they started with philosophy, I thought, oh God, release me here. When can we go into the mediumistic? Okay. Sorry, I was 25. I apologize.
No, okay? Always never be, just be true. That's it. Just be true.
Sorry. Yes, I'm honest. I'm really honest about that. And the point is, what kinesiology helped me to find, and this was a more important moment in my life, is I needed to work on a personal level first. I was not a person who was in his mind stable. I was very sensitive, but I never realized that actually sensitivity is something people can get under control.
Yes.
You see? And therefore, my take on mediumship is a bit different, and also how I teach it. First and foremost, my main path is coming from personal development. Look at yourself first, and then it will increase or improve your mediumship. What you suffer in life, you will meet in your mediumistic development. If you're afraid to stand in front of people and talk to them, of course you will be terrified to do that in front of a congregation in a church. Of course you would. But fact is, the difference is all of a sudden, Judith, you have the spirit world and you make it more than your own fear is, because I do it for the spirit world. I say, why don't you do it for yourself as well?
Yeah.
Why are you not starting to enjoy standing in front of the people? Because you will always do your best anyway. Otherwise, you shouldn't stand in front of people. It's my personal opinion. And the rest will then fall into place, because mediumship, we cannot plan, can we?
No.
We cannot. No. It's not like a PowerPoint presentation that I can prepare the day before about a mom in the world of spirit who was a cleaner in a nice mansion and looked after other people's children more than about you. I cannot sit at home and make this presentation and come into a service and say, well, this is my presentation, duck, 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 duck. Who is here to take this, mom? Can you see?
Yes.
So of course there is always.
You said something there that Spirit says quite a lot, and Spirit will always say, go enjoy yourself, enjoy, always have fun, and always enjoy what you're doing. And that's what you just said there, and Spirit say that a lot.
And this is where the philosophy all of a sudden has helped me to find more balance in my life. So if you ask me, Judith, if you ask me today, if that was the last time you are doing mediumship or you are teaching mediumship, what are you taking out all of that, say, 22 years that you have been engaged with it? And I am going to tell you, I have found myself.
Yeah.
That is the most precious thing that I have learned with mediumship, because every time you go into the power will touch your very soul.
That's true.
And it is true. The spirit world says always, you are here to live life.
Yes.
First and foremost, you have to live life. But most mediums, they live the spirit. I love the spirit world.
So yeah, but I love life.
I
Yeah.
do love them. But
Yeah.
I can love them and have a
Yeah.
joyful and beautiful life now, which
That's
when I
right.
go back in time, when I was 25, I didn't want to live. I was wrong in this earth plane. I was wrong in whatever I did. And therefore I said to you before, I had to learn to live myself. It's not love myself. It's not about loving myself. But I had to start living my own life.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
totally get that. You totally get that. It's so
Yeah.
true, though, David, what you say, because you do have to live your life and you do have to learn by mistakes, you know, and you can't keep seeking spirit for all the answers all the time as well, because you've got to learn. You have got to learn, you know, and how many times have we had that gut intuition about something, the spirit are telling us, just hold on, wait, be patient, trust, be patient, and you don't. And you think, well, I have to do that. And then you think, oh, if only I'd listened. But you had to learn that. You had to learn that because you weren't being patient. You weren't being patient about it. Do you know,
I always
David?
say there's lessons and blessings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I say as well, you know, when you work with spirit world, spirit always tell me, and it's how they stopped me from becoming, I used to take terrible anxiety and nerves before a platform demonstration. I still get the nerves, but nothing like it was, you know. And they said to me, get yourself out of the road. It's not about you on the platform.
Oh, okay.
It's about you sticking with us and you being the medium. So they then said to me, when I'm sat down on the chair on a platform, then I'm me. I'm Alice.
Mm.
When I start connecting with spirit world, then I become the medium. And when I stand up, I'm the medium. Alice is there. I'm the medium. And it's spirit and me. You know,
See,
and you know, that is what got me out of my comfort zone of this panic and nerves, because then I realized you're absolutely right. This is not about me. You know, and it doesn't care what people, it doesn't matter what people think. I'm working with you. And as long as I do that job right for you, and it's just you and me up there, then that's all that matters. Do you know?
See, I would be different in the sense I work much better when I can just be myself, just be me. If I feel somebody is putting me in a box or someone is making me feel I have to be different to who I am, then I'm not in my comfort zone. And spirit will always say to me, it's funny because we all have, I'm a bit of a giggler, and I like a giggle and a laugh, and it's spirit's way of always saying and getting my nerves down will be to show me something, you know, something funny, or to say something funny.
Yeah.
And then they'll remind me, okay, just be me, and just be me.
Yeah, but you are still you. You are still you, and you can still have fun and a laugh, the spirit world.
Oh,
but
yeah.
They're not letting you overcome you, preventing you from actually being the medium that they want you to be, you know, because when you connect with spirit world, yeah, you're still you, but you you feel yourself going into you feel yourself in that trance state of you're here and you're not here sort of thing. It's a kind of a woozy kind of feeling. It's lovely. I love the feeling. I love it.
I don't. And whether it's because I work differently, I don't know. But I don't get that.
It's great how we all get different things, isn't it? It's great how
I'm always coherent.
Yeah. What about you, David? What about you?
Well, you see, this is so beautiful, and this is why we have we cannot argue with one another. We can only
Yes.
share how it is
Yes.
for
That's
individual.
Yeah.
That is so beautiful. That's what you just proven. It is so individual with everybody else.
Yeah.
I teach, and I said that before, I teach that your mediumship is a reflection of yourself. The mediumship works through your energy. The mediumship works through your presence. And I'm even aware or convinced that people who seek me to be the medium, they know I carry something personal in me that they need for them to be represented properly. That might be that Judith will always have someone else that would never actually choose me because they know in her expertise or in her light is something that she understands as it is with you. When we look at the mechanical side of mediumship, it's like you're going into a heightened sensitive state. Okay. When I go into a heightened sensitive state, of course, I'm starting to feel more. So I am always very nervous, but
Yeah.
people don't need to see it. And I have to say, when I stand up and the power is there and the power is built, the energy, then the power is holding me. So I know that I'm not on my own. I have this kind of feeling. But also, I want to ask not you yourselves now, but the listener as well. Maybe you have people in the congregation that are nervous. And maybe because you went into that heightened state of sensitivity, it's not just your nerves that you are starting to feel, it
Yeah.
is the nerves of a participant in the room. It can even be, and this is why it's so important to have a good chair. When the chair is nervous, they will affect my energy. The better the chair is creating a moment of stability and ease, the easier for me as the medium it is actually to do my job very, very relaxed because I am being affected by them.
Yes.
When they are too nervous, then the energy tries to settle. I get a bit nervous and I am affected by the energy that I am within. So sometimes it's not even your nervousness that you feel, it is the nervousness of someone else.
Yes.
So
I never pick up other people's nerves though from a platform. Never do I pick that up. But I will in a private reading.
okay,
I will in
interesting.
a private reading. But I won't in a I don't pick that up in a demonstration, but I will pick up what I'm receiving from spirit world, whether they were anxious or nervous or what they're making me feel about them. But I've never actually felt myself getting pulled into the actual audience. I've never felt that way. No, I haven't. But I do in a private reading.
Would you not feel so if we were to reverse that then, and somebody was really not good in themselves and they were of a lower vibration, they were lower feeling, they were quite down, would you not sense that way from a platform?
If I was giving them a reading from the platform, I would sense perhaps that they were sad or they were unhappy but I wouldn't sense it from. I wouldn't sense.
You wouldn't sense the nerves.
Yes, if it was one to one.
Let me put that differently.
Not collectively. I'm seeing it as collectively. Do you know? But if I was up in the platform and I was giving a message from spirit world to somebody in the audience, then obviously you would sense if that person was sad. You would sense, and also you would know because if the person that you had from spirit world wasn't even long past, or this was something really deep issued, then of course you would sense it from the recipient. But I wouldn't sense it all collectively. That's what I'm trying to say.
Let me create that picture a little bit better. I have not explained it the way I meant it, that it can happen. So, for example, you haven't even started working. Okay.
Yeah.
You're sitting on these rostrums, and some of those rostrums are very high up.
Yeah.
And then you sit there and you have all those people staring at you.
Yeah.
With those expectations.
Yeah.
And for someone who is not used to be the demonstrator, that can be very daunting.
Oh, absolutely.
And
Yeah.
therefore, that's why I said some might become nervous because they are in a situation where they are stared at. And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden, the chairperson looks at you, is like, I've never done this before. I'm so nervous.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Understand.
know, and they're starting
Yeah.
to mess up
Straight
your
away,
work.
it's transparent.
And
Yeah.
if you are not a seasoned demonstrator, if you are a newbie,
Yeah.
all of that will affect the energy that you are going to start working with.
Yeah.
And this is what I think.
This is what I was trying to say to you, though, David. Like if you've got that right, and you have got all these eyes staring at you, and you've got, and I've had that chairperson. This is my first time. I'm really not sure what I'm doing, but I'm saying okay, yeah, that's what I was trying to say. I would get the nerves and I would get the panic a little bit, and that's when Spirit said to me, "Stick with us, stick with us." And they always say to me, stick like glue to us, and then when you go up, remember, it's not about you, it's about you, the medium, and spirit world, and that is where Alice is obviously there, but
you get out of your way.
Yes. Focus. So she's kind of to the side a little bit. So that's what I was trying to explain.
Yes.
Maybe I never explained that right.
And you had, Alice, that privilege to hear the spirit in that moment. But some people get so nervous they don't hear the spirit anymore. So I hope that someone who has that all of a sudden gets so overly nervous that they now have an understanding. Hey, hang on a minute. Maybe it's not just me who is nervous. Maybe everybody else. So I start to breathe. I start to relax. I start to relax my chairperson and say, come on, let's do it together then. But let's have a bit of a relaxed state of mind, because you know exactly that will help you then to go in. So yes, but I tell you, Alice and Judith, we are seasoned, but more experienced demonstrators. But if someone just starts out on their own and all of this happens, honestly, this is
quite something.
This is heads up. Yeah. Everybody who does that, who presents themselves in front of the public, I have the utmost respect.
Yeah. It can be very overwhelming if we let it overwhelm us, and sometimes it's nice that you can hear spirit just saying, look, just breathe, breathe and let it go, and it's nice. So can I ask, when you go back to Switzerland now, would you show more of your mediumship now? I know you said at the beginning you didn't. So if you were going back now, do you show it more?
Well, it's interesting. I've never really worked in Switzerland with my mediumship. So now I all of a sudden get some, or have gotten some invitations now to go and work in Switzerland after such a long time. It's really, really interesting. And I have worked in Germany because I speak High German. So therefore, well, I speak with an accent, okay, because they're separate languages. But for me, it was really difficult because I was so used to demonstrate or to do my work in English that my mind now is very at ease within that English language. But if I have to go back to Germany, I am more aware of words that are missing or I can't grasp, because now it starts that I have more of a passive knowledge again, even in German. I can't remember in the moment quickly the words that I would actually need to say. So now that I am all of a sudden working in a different language again, my mind needs to
back to only the reverse.
So I have never, or very, very rarely, demonstrated in my own mother tongue. So I don't even know how that works. Isn't that a strange thing to say?
Yeah.
But it would be lovely to experience that.
Absolutely.
You're going back full circle.
Well, it is, but then all of a sudden, and that's nice because we come full circle now. What Alice said about all of a sudden in a new country where I have to do it in my own mother tongue, which should be easier, to be honest.
Yes.
I am becoming the novice again. I'm becoming the beginning medium that stands in front of people who thinks,
Yeah.
does that work in German as well or in Swiss German? You know, it's like all of a sudden it's irrational. I know it's irrational, but I think that's we human being. But I think, is this working? Am I able to connect to the world of spirit as I do that within the English? And I
Yeah.
realized that my mind, analytical mind, all of a sudden tries to grasp hold again. And I'm back into my learning shoes as a, not quite as a beginner, but in that moment where I have to start, it's like, oh, I need to overcome that. Oh,
So it's, in a sense, it's that always learning. Spirit put us back into a situation
horribly,
where
yes.
we need to start learning again in a different area, and overcome those, as you say, the rational thoughts and the fears.
Absolutely. I mean, Judith, I know you both had these experiences, and I know every other medium. You know, you reached a moment where when you present your mediumship to the world, there's not always a possibility for you to go back into a circle, especially if you start teaching people. Where are you going to improve your own mediumship? Because you might sit with your own students in a circle. It's always a bit of a difficult one. So the spirit world, because they want you to grow, where do they teach you something new? Of course, when you are in the midst of a demonstration.
Every time.
No, seriously, every time.
Yes.
No, seriously, how many times did I curse the spirit world? You are, because I'm mainly clairvoyant, for example. So I'm very comfortable, as you said, comfort zone, okay?
Yeah.
It was really nice. The first contact, very nice. Clairvoyance, wonderfully. The clairsentience, wonderfully. The second is as well. And then all of a sudden, mute, stillness, nothing.
No.
No feeling. And then you stand there, it's like, heavens, I have to demonstrate for another 45 minutes. Help me. But there is nothing. There is nothing. And then all of a sudden they force you to work with your claircognizance, the clair-knowing.
Yeah.
If you don't know that this exists, you just think. But I was aware of that in that moment. It's like, oh well, thank you very much for changing my perception. So I knew that when I started to speak, I have a mother. This mother wants to speak to a daughter, because all of a sudden they came with the clear knowing. And I was like, I really want to say the B word. It's like, you don't do this in front of so many people. And then all of a sudden you get used to this one, and then they take that away as well.
Spirit do that on me all the time, and
they do it to us all. They do it to us all.
Well, they do it to us all. But anytime they add a new physical, it's always live. It's never like behind the scenes. Let's practice this.
I know.
It's always okay on the spot. And at first I used to under my breath I would go, "Are you for joking me?" And I would be saying to them, and then I just learned to go with it. And because they never let us fall, in the sense that they will always guide and teach us. And so I learned just to trust.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the best way to learn.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, Alice.
Yeah. No, I'm saying I agree with that. Trust. You just got to trust sometimes, haven't you?
You see, for me, what's more, and then I come back to, I think it was Mary, confidence. Because now I have an understanding that mediumship is a creative power that starts to move the moment we are starting to do it. We cannot prepare it. We cannot learn it as such. And in knowing that this is a creative force, I have learned to trust, because I know now, for me, knowledge is important for my brain to understand, to trust, to know that, okay, whatever is happening, there is a reason for it. And therefore, I'm not going to panic if something changes, because I know it's a creative force and I have to go with the creative force in that moment. I'm not saying this is always easy, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, listeners, I'm not saying mediumship is easy. It is not. Mediumship is challenging. Mediumship as a medium, especially if you're in the eyes of the public, is brutal. If you are too sensitive to hold critique and people talking about you, you should not go out into the world and present it. You really, it's tough. Mediumship, to become the medium, to be the medium, to present it to the world, it's not an easy path at all.
No, it's not, but it's also a beautiful path, and it's a beautiful path as well that the spirit world, you know, they taught me it doesn't really matter what other people say or judge you on. We will tell you, we will guide you, we will tell you if we feel that you have to change on something, or you could have did something a little bit better, not better, but changed it in a different way. But they'll never ever criticize you. They'll always be very proactive on it, and they'll be very much so like, you know, you did a good job, but why about trying it maybe this way the next time? And you know how you had said as well, David, and it's so true, they try things when you're on the platform, and but sometimes it's the only opportunity they have had to try something new with us, because we haven't been sitting in classes and learning or sitting in a circle for a while with other mediums. So that's the only opportunity they've had to do that for us, because they want to help us move on, you know?
Oh, absolutely. So it needs to move on. The moment you do the same thing over and over again, the moment your mediumship dies, because it stagnates.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is actually for those people who are very vulnerable within themselves. And I saw, you know, I agree. Mediumship is wonderful if you are stable and clear within yourself as you are, Alice, because you say, okay, we do it the next time better. Brush it off. Or I don't know her name anymore. She's Shake It Off. Shake It Off. Who's the singer?
Taylor Swift. Shake It Off.
Shake It Off. Shake It Off is a very good one. But some people are so sensitive that when it happens, that they are being destroyed by the criticism that they perceive. And I'm talking to all those people who feel very vulnerable. Do something for yourself to become more or stronger in yourself, to say, okay, come on, whatever anybody says.
I've had to do a lot of work on myself, though, David, to do that, though. I've had to do a hell of a lot of work on myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you know, and I still do, you know.
How many years did it take you to get to that point? Maybe that's interesting for listeners.
You know, well, I would say probably 15, 16 years.
Well,
you know, but even so, I'm still working on it. I'm still working on myself.
You know,
because I can have bad days as well. I can have bad days as well when I do let something get me down, and I do let maybe an opinion get me down. And then I've got to say, well, okay, that was yesterday, today's today. And if I let it really get me down, then I know for me, I would go into a depression because it would affect me really badly. And I've been there, done that years ago, and I'm not going back that way again, you know. So I've came a long way, and having the people knocking me down, not every time I get up, knocking me down, you know. So for my own sanity and for my own health, I've got to now just say, okay, that's their opinion, but their opinion is the most important for me, because I would be ill if I didn't. I would go back to the way I was, and I'm not going there.
Very true. But you see, what helped me is, again, understanding.
Yeah.
Because I realize now, and I tell everybody, what the worst thing that I ever did, and my partner told me off for that. Every time I was finished working, I started to reflect and criticize my own work. And then he said, stop this immediately. And then I said, why? Because you are in a heightened sensitive state of mind after an hour demonstration. You know how you feel. Okay. And then you are still in this heightened state of mind, and then you're starting to rip yourself apart. Of course, it feels 10,000 times stronger. So what I have learned now is to detach myself, not even listening. You know, those people who come after a service and say, I give you a feedback, and you haven't even asked them for one. And they don't realize that you are so in a heightened sensitive state that you just need to calm down. Okay, it's like, thank you very much, but I'm not interested. That's not me being rude. That's me being too sensitive to listen to what you have to criticize. So me, myself, and I have now decided, and I had to really train myself. I said, 48 hours I give myself before I look back and say, analyze, what have I done? How did it go? Where could I have been better? Because after 48 hours, I know my sensitive state of mind is back into a normal state. Can you see what I'm saying here?
Mhm.
And with most of the people that are so destroyed within themselves, it happens in that moment where they are too high in their sensitivity. And if you realize that you need to give yourself more time and a break from yourself and self-criticism, then you know, okay, 2 days later, I'm good enough to be rational about it, and it
Yeah.
doesn't feel so overwhelming.
Yes, do you've said something there that I never really thought of, to be fair. I really never thought of it that way because you're right, you are in an oversensitive situation. And I have had people, maybe not a lot of times, but have had some people come up and say, can I give you a bit of feedback? And then I'll be like, oh yeah, of course. And then they're telling you and you're feeling yourself go, oh, and then you're getting in the car and you're driving and you're like, oh.
And you're overthinking it, yeah.
Yeah, you're like,
Absolutely.
I could have did that. I'm so sorry.
And I really hope that someone who listens and who does that, because I was brutal with myself. I don't need anybody to criticize me, to be honest. I'm the worst anyway. And I needed to really discipline myself that I stopped my own voice. I have to say, I needed to really be harsh with myself and say, David, shut up with that thought. Shut it up. You're not allowing yourself to go into that one. 2 days, put it in your agenda. Yes, okay. And then I look back and I see. And now I'm good. Now I'm good. But there was a time where I wasn't.
Yeah.
When Spirit, I know when my things started changing for me more into the physical, Spirit, I sat with Spirit and they said to me, they were really good that sense, because they said to me, Judith, you need to be prepared. You need to be thick-skinned and broad-shouldered.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people are going to have opinions, but you need to trust us. And looking back, I'm really glad they did have that talk with me. It helped prepare me for those walls that we do come up against, and those opinions that are different that we do come up against. And so I just find I ask a lot. I ask Spirit a lot. I know it's like I know we know they're always here, and I know they will never lie. And it's, if I ever have queries, yes, I talk to other people, but I will always question it with Spirit. I chat a lot to Spirit about everything, and we have some really great conversations, and they do help. I think they help prepare us for quite a lot if we look back. What do you think, Alice?
Yeah. I think you've got a point there. Yeah, you've got a point. I speak to spirit as well. But you know, I'm still learning. I'm still learning a lot.
Yes.
I'm learning a lot,
Yeah.
and that was one of the things they did say to me was, stick with us like glue. Just stick with us when we're on there. Feel that love and stick with us. But I'm still learning. And just like David, I mean, spirit advisors. You don't have to hear it, you can feel it, you just know it, as Cliff Robinson's kind of knowing, you just know it,
but I've also had spirit I've also had spirit where, say, if I wasn't well, and I'm not one for medications, I don't like a lot of medications, and I've had spirit say to me, chestnut, what do you mean chestnut? So I'd be like, oh, I'll be on my phone looking, and before you know it, it's to do with the bark of the tree, the healing qualities, all the what it covers, and I find myself even talking to spirit, things like that. They will always give me guidance, even on. I've seen me go to buy vitamins before, and they'll say to me, no, and I go, okay, and it's funny in a way, because I just feel we all have great relationships with our teams, but they're always chirping in and helping.
So are you in tune with spirit all the time then? Is that how it works for you?
Yeah.
Are you? See, I'm not, and I'm not. I'm just going to admit it. I'm not, because I'll be honest. After I work with Spirit World, I kind of like I say my love to them and thank no, but I'm just saying I'm not in tune to them all the time. Do you know, like if I go into a shop with my own judgment on what I pick,
Oh no, don't get me wrong, I do that.
Yeah.
But if I want to ask them a question, I just ask them a question and they're there. They're always there. If you need to talk to them, they're always there.
Moments thought away. Yeah.
So there's times maybe I'm trying to. I maybe want to try and do like vitamins or like herbal teas or something that has beneficial factors to it. But spirit will always come in. Like when I was helping find loved ones, once I connect to that loved one, they don't leave me till they're found.
Yeah.
That's very intense. That's very intense. But I close down and clear my energy every time, but I just can still talk to them anytime.
But you can speak to them anytime. You can. Yeah. But I don't think it's healthy to be open all the time. That's my opinion on it.
But I'm not open.
I don't know what David.
You're natural. Well, okay. So if I can explain, you can ground yourself. You can do your you can close down. You can close that door. You can close down. But you can still speak to them at any time. It's not that you're inviting them into your energy. You're not doing it. They're there. They're always there.
Of course they are. You can speak
Spirit
to
always.
Yeah.
Well, David, I don't know. It'd be interesting for you because Spirit always say to me, "You are a being of light. You're always connected. We're always connected to Spirit." And that's how I've always, like, even though I close down
in a physical body.
Yeah, but they're always there. You don't. So even right now, we don't need to open up to Spirit. Right now, we can just chat away and ask them to come forward, and they're there, and
I understand what you're saying, and what I'm trying to say is, when I finish a dem, I always say it's a bit like, I don't know if you've ever watched Lisa Williams. She has a cap on, and when she finishes a dem, she'll say, "Rick, the cap's off now," or "The cap's on." No, the cap's on now. That's me. I finished my demonstration. I'm into the human life now. Do you know, that's kind of what I mean, but I don't mean that I can't speak to them at any time. I can.
Oh yeah, no, you have your physical and your spiritual.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
What about
I
you,
don't really
David?
mind.
What about-
Yeah.
Sorry,
No,
David's the guest here. Okay, so how about
Yeah.
you, David? Yeah,
I think it's really interesting, and
yeah,
as you both said, it's an opinion, okay?
yeah.
I'm not saying I'm the
It's
walking
opinions.
witness and
Opinions.
whatsoever. Okay, I can just follow myself, and I am a personality who is very rational in that whole element of mediumship. I'm rather rational, but it doesn't mean that I don't feel or sense in that sense. But for me, the meeting point for the world of spirit with us is an altered state of consciousness. So you as the medium, you have to alter your state of consciousness to be able to be aware of them. If you hear them, feel them, sense them, whatever your faculty is or faculties, you have to alter something within your mind to become aware of them. I agree, of course, the spirit world is all around you because we are universe. We are part of that. We are spirit. But if my rational analytical mind is still in the alpha, those that understand a bit brainwaves, I will not have an awareness of them. I only have an awareness of them when I change my brain function, my brain waves into a more daydream-like state. Of course, they are there when I reach out, and this is where, in my opinion, people have a bit of a strange attitude. They say, "Oh, the spirit comes." No, they only there because you open with your mind that doorway. So you as a person are. So my problem that I have a little bit with that spirit guidance, not saying that any of you have that, not even the listeners, but what I see is a lot of people become very much dependent on the spirit influence. They have no choice anymore in their life. They have to, for example, those pay lines, the psychic pay lines, and so on.
Oh, yeah, the telephone.
Yes, for example, we had that in Switzerland where they had a little TV show, at 11 o'clock at night or something, where they started to call the psychic.
Yeah.
I was more a psychic, but anyway, it's the same. It's kind of the same system for me. And they had to ask, what shall I wear tomorrow? What shall I do tomorrow? How do I get there? And so on and so on.
Yeah.
And what I saw was people who have no capability anymore to make their own decisions. And sometimes what I see when I teach people are incredibly lost, and they are reaching quite easily out to the world of spirit. And sometimes I have to say, and not indicating anyone here has that or does that, sometimes it's their own voice and not the spirit world. So I'm a bit in between. And the other thing there is, every time I move my consciousness into an altered state, my sensitivity starts to enhance. As soon as my sensitivity starts to enhance, my whole emotional mental system starts to enhance, and I become aware of more stuff that is going around me. And therefore, all of a sudden, my mental emotional state are starting to become overflown by all the impressions and impulses. And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden, I'm not clear about when to shut that and go back into here I am, non-aware of anything that is going on. Then all of a sudden, people get sick, physically and mentally. And I have to say, for us, it's great. Of course, I love to go into interaction. I love to iron, for example. Ironing is my moment where I'm not saying I'm good, ladies and gentlemen. I might be
You like
miserable.
Ireland, do
I
you?
love it because
Yeah.
it helps my mind to free itself
Yeah.
and to
Yeah,
go into that
relax you.
mode of
Yeah.
daydreaming, where my
Yeah.
body is doing something and my thoughts are out. And then I have this beautiful inspiration, and I believe that's also the spirit world. Not always, to be honest. It is not always the inspiration from the spirit. It is sometimes also my higher self that is communicating, or something that resides within me. And I have quite an interesting thing. But I cannot live, if I want to have a healthy life, I cannot live 24/7 in that altered state. We're not equipped for that. And this is where you see people not being able to leave their homes anymore, to use public transport, to meet friends, to go out. And then we have a problem. I think then we have a problem.
Yeah.
And we need to teach people.
No, we do. We need the balance. It's
Yeah,
very much we
absolutely.
do need the balance. I'm not always in an altered state. I'm always able to talk to them when I need to. But I do have that balance of like the physical life.
Every time, honestly, every time you are aware of the spirit world, you're in altered states of consciousness. Every single time. You're just so good in it, Judith, to just bang, and there we are.
Well,
But
it's just always the way I've been. It's from a child. I've always.
See, I never had it. See?
Yeah, you see, I've always had that from a child. So
Yeah, I never had it.
It's
Normal.
Yeah, it's always normal. But I do have physical. So they're very good. They wouldn't they wouldn't pester me, or they wouldn't keep talking all the time.
Your dog's
But what I'm saying, sorry to interrupt, what I'm saying is, if that aspect is starting to intrude into your life, or is affecting your life in a negative way, that you are not happy anymore, that you are not content within life, then something is going wrong. If that doesn't affect your life, in your expression, what you want to do in your life, then I would say I have no issue. But with the most people, it will affect their lives in a negative way. And I feel we have a responsibility as teachers of mediumship to look at this aspect.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. I totally agree with that. We are all very different. And it's not for everyone, but it's just how I've been all my life. I've always been like that.
See, I never really had it that way. Never.
Yeah.
I really had to work for my mediumship. I really had to work for it. So it's possible both ways.
Yeah.
I've had it since I was a child. I have had it since I was a child. It was very different, though. It was very different. It was, how can I put it? It was on and off. It was on and off, you know. And then it disappeared for a while, and then it came back again in my teen years. But it was on and off, you know. It wasn't. I mean, I could speak to them when I wanted to, but they weren't there all the time, you know. But maybe it was because I was busy with my life. I don't know. I honestly don't know. But I found that at times when I really needed them, they were there, you know. And sometimes, and most times, it was even before I even reached out to them. Something would happen, or something would get said to me, or, you know. But it was on and off. It was kind of on and off all my life, you know. And then I went into nursing, then that was my main focus, was my nursing, you know. Yeah, and I sat in a circle here and there now and again, you know, but my main focus was nursing. But then I didn't realise until later on, well, that was part of working for spirit world as well, you know. You know, because I like to do what I was doing, but it was on and off. It wasn't constant at that time. No.
Do you not find, though, and I come across this quite a lot, subconsciously we're connected to spirit more than we realize we're connected. So subconsciously we think we're switching off, when really not all the time you are. You know what I'm saying is that you are here, you are receiving those messages. Like, for example, I went to get my nails done. I know it sounds silly, but I went to get my nails done, and the girl is the girl I go every time to get my nails done. And she was talking to me, and she always asks me for a message, and I'll say to her, okay. So I'll always give her a little message. And she was her grandmother. All I can remember is about her grandmother. And she's chatting away, and she's doing my nails, and she says to me, Judith, what colour do you want your nails? And I said, do you know, I've no idea tonight. I actually haven't thought of a colour. You choose. So she's doing my nails, and she says, what about the purple? She puts the purple on, and then I don't know what the messages from her grandmother were. And then she said to me, would you like a bit of glitter on your nails? And I went, no, I'm okay, thank you. And her grandmother went, oh, go on, you will. So I was like, okay, apparently I will. Just give me one nail glitter, right? So then she put one nail glitter, and she finished my nails, and she was chatting away, and actually said to me, thank you so much for giving me those couple of messages. I said, not a problem. By any chance, can I ask, what colour did you do your grandmother's nails the last time you spoke to her? And she says, purple with glitter. And I said, so, you know, we don't always realise that subconsciously we are connected. We are there. You know, it's the mind tells us different. And that's, I've noticed that.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I do understand what you're saying. You know, but subconsciously, well, it's not even a case of subconsciously. Of course, we're connected. We are spirit.
Yeah, we're all connected. Yeah.
You know, but I also feel as well, though, in life we're here to do a job. We're here to progress. We're here to learn and grow.
We're here to enjoy and live life and love and have fun.
And learn from experiences.
Yeah.
And, tonight's the learning. Tonight's the learning. You know, it's all learning. You know, everything's about learning. Everything's about choices.
And anybody who knows me knows I have fun. I life should not be so serious, and I very much have fun.
Yeah. I think we all do, though, when it comes to, you know, working in the spirit world. You know, we all do. But then, you know, you can have your times when things are, and I'm sure you'd agree as well, David, when things are pretty sad. You know, it depends on who you've got. Maybe a situation. Without going into too much detail, I did have a reading, and I've had quite a few quite recently, and it's been young children, and it's been very hard, very, very hard. You know, so yeah, there's a lot of happy times of spirit, but there's also, but you know, a lot of sad times. But you know what? There's nothing nicer than seeing that person that you gave a reading to walk out feeling stronger, feeling that strength of knowing, you know.
Yeah. I mean, Eddie said. I think I saw Eddie had said something that is called dead people. The point is, what is so beautiful, and I bring the philosophy back. What is actually the message of the spirit world? The message is, we are not dead. We are very much alive.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And this is where it's so beautiful, actually. When we realize that, I called them in the beginning, for me, when I started, we are talking to dead people, but today is like we are commune with those that are more alive than us.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I read something very nicely. Don't know the source now, but he called us all sleepwalkers. We are.
Yeah.
Because what are we aware in life? When we look at psychology, and the awareness that we have is about, out of 100% that is happening around us right now, we are aware of 10%.
Yeah.
So you cannot tell me that we are alive. And you see there, Judith, now, of course there is a subconscious, but when we move or transition into the world of spirit, there is no differentiation between subconscious and conscious anymore. because that is a bridge that is within the physical element of us human beings. So as soon as we leave that moment that we call the physical existence behind, that bridge falls apart, and then we become aware 100% what we were only aware of 10%. This is actually incredible when you think how that transition must be for people all of a sudden becoming aware of the last 90% of what they have done, what they have experienced, how they were in life, and so on. Well, that's quite something to swallow, I believe. And there is where it is so beautiful that obviously Ali's children have now chosen you for their moms and dads or maybe siblings or so to come to you and feel that comfort in knowing, oh, they are still with me. And of course it's something that resides within the subconscious, that need to see a medium. It's not rational for a lot of people. They would never go and see a medium, but their heart, their soul is seeking that connection, and gives them the courage to phone up for a private reading. And in the end, of course, sometimes it's tragic, but it's actually very beautiful to say, well, whatever has happened here in life, it has moved on, and they are still very much part of not just our minds, but our soul and hearts, and that's so beautiful. Honestly, this is so beautiful.
Yeah. David, have you got anything coming up that you would like to share with anybody before we start to wrap things up a little bit?
Well, just have a look at my website. To be honest, there is a lot going on,
that is what I've been putting up and displaying there as well. So if anybody would like to find out what David is doing, and I know you're a fantastic tutor as well.
Oh, thank you so much.
And do you know, I think it's good that another medium can even get more advice from another medium and another medium and another medium, because there'll be snippets of it you will take and you will hold and you'll say,
absolutely.
Oh, I didn't know that. I understand that. That's very interesting. Do you know?
And we learn something from everyone, really, don't we?
You do, you really do, So if anybody is interested at all in finding out what's going on with David, what's happening, demonstrations, courses, workshops, etc., then that is the website there to go on to. And Judith, have you got anything coming up, darling, that you'd like to share?
Yes, I will be on the Friday night on Chat Show with Jennifer Rose, medium Jennifer Rose, for the Love of Spirit, Spiral TV.
Yep. Okay.
On Friday evening, 7 p.m. UK time. And then this weekend, episode 4 comes out of our prophetic news. You don't want to miss that. Spirit are very much everything that they have passed. They're now giving the full details as to why they passed it. And so watch out for episode 4. Yeah,
very interesting. Yeah, I'm going on to Jennifer's show in a few weeks as well. I'm looking forward to that. She's doing really well.
Yes, she is. And she's lovely.
Yeah, she's lovely. She's a good friend.
And then the charity event in May, we can give it a shout out. It's to do with the 22 it's to do with the veteran.
We'll do that again the next time that we're on, because we're coming back on again, and we're finishing tonight, but we are in 2 weeks, so we'll be able to come out with all of that's going on. For myself, I will be serving at Wimbledon Spiritualist Church in London. So if anybody is interested in joining on Sunday, I will be doing the Sunday morning Spiritualist Church service there. I'm very much looking forward to it. It's Phil Shaw, who's the president that runs it. My very first time going there. It's normally, I've been at Fulham Spiritualist Church quite a few times, and I love Fulham Church,
Joy,
and Derek, the president, and all the committee members are just absolutely fantastic. So I'm looking forward to that, and so I'm having a little break. I'm going down to see my daughter, who's in Eastbourne, and I'm really looking forward to going down and being with her. Really am. I haven't seen her for a good few months, and I'm really missing her. So I'm looking forward to go down there with my hobby and our little pooch as well. I can hear your pooch in the background.
Yes.
Your dog giving a wee kind of, if anybody can hear the noise, because I know in podcast it's audio only. So if you hear that noise, it's not your imagination. We do have a dog friend here, so
he thinks he's grounded because I've kept him in the room with me.
He's a cockapoo as well, and he is a cockapoo. So maybe they should get to know each other.
So he's listening. He's spoiled. What can I say? He's spoiled.
Yeah,
they all are. They are.
So have you got a dog as well then, David? Have you got one too? Yeah. You got a dog, David?
Yes, I do. Yes, it's a cocker spaniel as well.
Oh, cocker spaniels. Yeah, they're lovely.
I think he was sitting in front of the door because I could hear his tail.
What age is he?
Sorry?
What age is he, David?
It's 4 years old this year, so in September 4. Yeah.
Mine's is 2.5. He's 2.5.
Oh, okay. A baby still.
He'll be 7 this year.
Oh, okay. An oldie. Yeah.
Yeah, she's very well behaved.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
She's past the rebel stage. Benjamin's very much at that teenage, rebellious stage. Yeah.
Mine calmed down very nicely, so it was like...
Yeah. We'll get to that stage too, but hopefully.
Well, no, he's good now. But there was a moment where I thought, "What did I do? What did I do?" You know what is so interesting? People always say, "Do a dog takes a lot of time to go walking and so on." I tell everybody listening, this is not the problem. Walking, it is training a dog to be a good dog. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Gee, honestly, this is not easy to get a good dog. The effort you have to put in, the tears you cry. Yes. So
it's all worth it as well. Every bit of it.
I love him dearly, but if I'd known that this is so much work to put into, I always thought a dog wants to naturally please you and wants to do what you want him to do.
Yeah.
Not really.
They always say we never choose our fur babies; they choose us.
They do. That's right. Yeah.
Well, obviously, yes.
Yeah, that's so true. Because Mia definitely chose. We both went to see Mia, but Mia chose Tom, my husband, right away. And the rest of them all wandered back, but no, she stayed with him. Yeah, well, do you know what? I'm going to love and leave you now. And for everybody that has been on the show tonight and spent some time with us, I would like to also thank you all for joining us this evening. It's been
the orbs.
Yeah, the orbs were great. Yeah, I started to see them later on. Yeah,
they've been on display all night.
I started to see them later on. So the orbs were lovely.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see beautiful orbs around you, Helen. Okay.
Thank you so much for having me.
No, you're very welcome. Yeah. So thank you for joining us this evening. Thank you also for Judith for joining as well tonight and hosting along with myself this evening. We won't be on for another no, we're not on next week, but we're on the week after. They're on the week after. So we're off next week, but we're on the week after. And it will be guest Nadia Bajami from France. Well, she's living in Ireland, but she's coming back and forward to France as well. So I'm looking forward to that. So spiritual medium, Nadia Bajami will be our next guest. Off next week and then back on. But remember, this Thursday, 8 p.m, Spotify and all the other I put it on earlier on, all the other broadcasts, Apple, etc. It's all on my page. So if anybody's interested in finding out, please just go on to my page, Al Sparkle of Light Spiritual Church. Spark of Light Spiritual Chat Show, and the other one is Spark of Light Spiritual Centre, and Alice Psychic Medium page on Facebook, and also my own website. You will find all the information, and YouTube as well. Please subscribe if you possibly can. It doesn't cost you anything, but it just helps us get up the ratings a little bit. So if you can subscribe, I really do appreciate it very much.
Thumbs up.
Yeah, and thumbs up. Yeah. So it's free to subscribe on Spotify, and also Spark of Light Spiritual Chat Show page on YouTube. So enough of that. And I will now just say good night to everybody, and also good night to your lovely dog, Judith, as well, who's saying good night. Good night. And thank everybody for joining us this evening. Please take care of yourself, look after yourself and each other.
Stay back.
Stop.